Hello, this is Tammy from Singles Travel International and Single Life Today. Excited today to present Enjoy Your Solo by author Mary Delia Allen with many of our members from Singles Travel International, learning why it's so awesome to be single, how you can enjoy it, and take it on the road. So with that, Mary Delia, back to you.
Do we have any questions so far? Sandy, any disagreements? Have you believed everything that I've said? There is a new time for being solo. Putting energy towards yourself and being solo is super important. Joining the type of solo event where you have another commonality with people is really, really important too. So my favorite, and I feel sometimes groundbreaking point that I'm trying to make in my exciting masterpiece of Enjoy Your Solo is, especially as we approach the holidays, everybody has that image of the doddering aunt who says, I have to have things, she's single, she's the spinster, she needs things a certain way, or the old man who lives down the street, get off my lawn, and people who are single are set in their ways and cranky, and there's that outdated image. And I feel that if you're single in today's life, you should be working very, very hard to make yourself happy. And it is effort and work to decide what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable. The fact that this is a group of people who can say, I'm going to find a singles group. I'm going to find people to travel with. I want to have new experiences. You are already well on your road to this, to my theory. My theory is if you're single, you should be making yourself happy, and you should be the first person to be selfless in this world. You should be the first person to be flexible. We have it though. I live alone. I'm 49. I never got married. I have things the way I wish they are all the time. And I want to be the first person to say, no, what do you think? Let's do it your way. How can I be that sort of muscle of how can I help others? How can I extend myself? And in the book, I talk about group travel is one of the best ways to keep that muscle strong of saying, I'm going to come on this group of people. I'm going to socialize. I'm going to bring my best self. I'm going to be aware of the needs of others. I'm going to just, even if we're on vacation for just a week, we're going to be together, and I'm going to make a positive contribution, even though things are not always as I wish them to be, as it is when you travel. So I think that's a newer concept today. Ron, do you agree? Oh, good. So I can't get through this without telling a story about traveling. And my story is, we talk about, you want to be flexible when you're being single, and you want to be flexible when you're traveling. And Ron and I were in Alaska.
Yeah, it's good.
And Alaska is a pretty active cruise, and we'd had a great group, and it was really, really fun. We came back, and it's hard to fly east, right? You have to wait until the end of the day to leave the West Coast to come to the east. And I think we were in Vancouver.
Yes. Yeah.
Or something.
Very nice.
And something happened. I might have given up my seat so somebody could go home earlier. And Tammy was like, you got to spend the day there. And I was like, I am exhausted. And so we went on a tour, and I was, putting down we're still having this adventure. It's totally fine. And we took a tour of Vancouver, and it turned out to be really fun. And then there's an incredibly glamorous section of Vancouver that overlooks a waterway. And it is the first time I ever sat on bunk with someone. Ron, you sat next to me at dinner. It was just the two of us for some reason. We must have been the last people to go to the airport, and normally you would face each other, right? And you were like, look at the view. We're going to sit on bunk. And I think of you every time I see someone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
On the same side of the table. So yeah, I just wanted to be short and sweet today, but this is a highly readable, highly friendly, fairly funny little missive. It's a wonderful gift. And I do feel that the type of singlehood that is happening today is different, and it requires a different response from you as a person who's single. You have to make the choice to be energetic about yourself. You have to make the choice to decide what is it that you will like, what will make you happy, just the way you would try and make a partner happy. You got to turn that energy on yourself and make the most of this time, because it's just a realistic numbers fact that we are more likely to be single as time goes on. And what do you want to do with that time? It's far more widely accepted. And I wanted to change singlehood to be, if you are single, you are the first to say, how can I share myself? How can I have a wider circle of friends? How can I have different friends? How can I have a bigger life because I am the only person in it? And I know that I'm not covering sort of, someone here said, I don't think it's hard to travel alone at all. Well, it can be difficult. It's hard to go out to dinner by yourself. It's hard to do a lot of things by yourself. And there's some very actionable advice in the book on finding a way to do things by yourself in a way that makes you comfortable and happy. So that's it. Any questions?
I'd go to Vancouver again with you.
Oh, thanks. I take you too. Fun too. And cruises are always fun. And I really, I do have some experiences from my days with Single Travel directly in this book. We had a wonderful weekend in Chicago, and Chicago is sort of the birthplace of singles travel long ago. So it's a special place in everybody's heart. And I was outside of the hotel, and this gentleman came, and he said, listen, I come from a small town and everybody knows each other, and I had a partner, and she cheated on me, and it's a mess and everybody knows about it. And he said, I came here and I didn't know you could make friends as an adult. I didn't know that I could go someplace new and nobody knows who my ex is or what I've been through. And I'm not saying, travel is the answer for everything, but certainly putting yourself out there can give you a little new viewpoint of whatever you're going through in your own life. I can picture that guy very, very clearly. And he was like, I didn't know you could make friends. I was like, yeah, there's friends waiting for you on every trip. Come on out.
Mary Delia, I have a question for you. I've got your book here, so I'm looking through the table of contents, and it is rich with, I can see there's 25 chapters, and what would you say, share with some people here, because you're right, even though some people do travel alone or live life alone, for many, in the 28 years that I've been doing this, I really meet a lot of people that are looking, they're not ready to do this. There's some fears, there's some anxiety. Let's share with the group today, what are some of the cool things about being single? What do you love the most? What should we look forward to as a single person?
So I feel that as a single person, you have more time, and I'm going to start with the most important thing in our life, which is our connections. I feel that if you're single, you can make better and different connections. I can remember I was at this party, I was catering the party, and this lady came in and she was by herself, and she talked to every single person at this cocktail party. It was in a private home, and she really, made an effort to say, if you're with a partner, you got to be like, do you want to, you kind of, not that isn't great, but when you're by yourself, you can make different choices in your resources are bigger, and you can give more of yourself, and you can have a wider group of friends. And, I'm an extrovert. We're extroverts and we want to go out there. That can look like whatever you want. If you want to live alone and you want to wave to every single car that goes by on your street, and everybody's like, I don't know, that lady lives by herself, but she certainly waves every time. Or you want to be the guy who goes to the same Starbucks every day, and that's your community. You do not have to be an extrovert to have connect, or to have a partner, to have community, to have relationships in your life. And when you don't have a partner, there's more time for that. You're able to say, I'm going to reach out a little bit. I'm going to do this extra thing. I'm going to have some rituals in my life. I personally go to the same restaurant every Sunday night. I know people who go for the same place for coffee every day. You can create that in your life, and you do not need those rituals. You do not need a partner. I go on a annual vacation with some guys I went to high school with. And when I was a younger person, I was there, they were all married with children, and I wasn't married. And that takes you back. Was I supposed to, this is a very traditional path. I wasn't taking a traditional path. But when I look back over the years, I got to spend time with every single person and group there. When the husbands were like, we're going to take the kids and the wives can go out for drinks, I got to go with the wives. When the wives were like, the guys can go golfing, I got to go golfing. I got to take the kids on an adventure. I got to do my own thing. I also got to go on a vacation with people that I knew long ago, and I didn't have a spouse being like, this is boring, these are your people. So there is an upside, and you can build all kinds of community and all kinds of connection. And I would argue, as a person who is not tending to a romantic one-on-one relationship, you have a little bit more energy and resources to build those connections for yourself in whatever way you see fit. I mean, you don't have to go to the bar and dance on the tables. It can be however you see connection in your life. You should have more time and more resources to make those connections.
That's right, because we never danced on tables at a bar.
I mean, no.
Well, I wanted to expand on that with the travel, of course. So many people wait around for friends, forget spouses, but they wait for friends forever. And one of the conversations I have on a weekly basis is, I'm tired of waiting for my friends. So I'm really going to go ahead and do this by myself, whether you go by yourself or if it's your first time, you join a group and you get that comfort zone of safety and immediate community, which is what you were talking about.
One of the other things with being...
Tammy, can I just mention that I've got to leave, but I thank you for all this. The one thing I love about traveling with you is the people I've met, and also it gives me my comfort zone. If I want to stay with the group, fine. But like Mary and Delia and both of you said, you can venture out. You can do what you want to do. You don't have to answer to anybody. And it's the only way to travel. And thank you for all the years that you've given us. Thank you. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
Right.
Well, Miss Tammy, first of all, I'd like to thank the author, and I'm going to have a look at your book. But with your presentation, I also was introduced to Miss Tammy, and I've been hesitant in joining, but I think I'm going to have to join now. I've been solo most of my life, and for me, traveling by myself is not an issue. And I liked what one person said: if I want to break away from the group, it would be okay. For me, the biggest issue traveling solo is when I eat. I hate to be the only one in the restaurant who sits there sticking out. Thank you, both of you.
Sure. Tatiana, there is a chapter on going out solo, chapter 19 in the book. And I wanted to ask Mary Delia another question, since we've got her here with her precious time. I think this is, first of all, it's kind of two questions. Number one, I want you, after this question, to tell people where to get started to begin the journey of feeling great about themselves being solo. And I see that one of the chapters here is called Choose Your Thoughts. And that's something that I've thought about the last, I didn't mean to use that pun, but we have stories in our heads, all of us. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to understand that most of us actually, amazingly, have a ton of negative thoughts that go through our heads every day about ourselves. And when we get a single person out on a vacation, we know that it's a new beginning because you're not with anybody who knows you. And for the first time ever, you get to be whoever you want to be. And so if you wouldn't mind, Mary Delia, talk about that chapter there that's called Choose Your Thoughts, if that's connected with what I just said.
And Choose Your Thoughts is really a very basic stuff. For those of us who are personal development readers, that's such a really basic, but it needs to be included because, do you think of yourself as like, oh, by myself, and everyone's looking, and everyone knows my story, and I've been rejected, or I've been, your story is what you choose to highlight within yourself, and how everybody has ups and downs, and everybody has disappointments. And people have very serious troubles in life, but even when you have troubles, I do talk about in the book, I talk about people are single for very serious reasons. They've had some of the worst things happen to them, and it leads them to a life by themselves. That doesn't mean that your life is over. Also, healing from something that's difficult, if you're broken up or you're new to being single and you're trying to build that muscle up, it's like looking for a job. It affects everything in your whole life. You're unemployed or you're sad about being single or you're new to being single. It affects everything, your finances, your time spent, your sense of self, how you schedule yourself. But you can't heal it 24 hours a day. It's just like looking for a job. You can look for a job a little bit. You can try and heal it from whatever made you single, whatever breakup you came from, whatever hurt thing might have brought you to being single. You can do that a couple hours a day. The rest of the time, you can watch movies and you can laugh and you can have fun and you can heal yourself through positive activities. And traveling with a group like this is one of the most positive things that you can do. But you have to be telling yourself that. You have to be choosing those thoughts. The story I tell in the book is and we're really, first of all, the marketers find it easier to sell to the couples. Weddings are a $6 billion with a B, annual marketing campaign. So there's a lot of marketers. Oh, sorry, I fell.
Where'd you go?
There's a lot of marketers who want to sell to the couples. It's easier to sell once, twice, right? So I was home in Chicago. I was having a great weekend, and I realized that I had owned, this is very upsetting, don't get upset anyone, but I had owned the same couch for 17 years. And I was like, well, this isn't the couch that I was supposed to own for my whole life. This was supposed to be my single girl couch. And then I was supposed to, whatever I thought I was supposed to do had not yet happened. And I really became very sniffly over it and upset. And, we're marketed to, you're supposed to get a new couch every 5 years. And I talk about it in the book. First of all, you're lucky to have a couch. I lived in an apartment. I was safe and warm, and I was going to cry about a couch. And the couch had a pretty good life. I had taken naps on it, and I'd had made out sessions with different gentlemen callers, and anything can happen. One of the things about the solo is it can end tomorrow. So one of the questions I asked very early in the book is, if I promised you, if I had the Christmas holiday season magic and I promised you that your perfect partner, he or she was perfect, and they were coming in 365 days, what does your first thought say? Do you go, geez, I better get to Tahiti in case he doesn't like to travel? Or do you think, boy, I better quit smoking, I better get healthier, whatever that is, that's sending you a message. Why would you wait for someone else to change your life? Whatever you would do for a partner or whatever you would miss, you got to do that right now, because it's true. The solo, your person could show up tomorrow, no matter what your experience has been. Being single for you could end very, very quickly. What have you not done? What have you not taken advantage of? So the woman who owns Spanx, she has 4 children. She has a billionaire husband. She has $1 billion. She has all the Spanx she could want. And for her 50th birthday, she took herself on vacation alone for a week. So this idea that being alone is negative or having a solo season is not a positive, is not correct. That's being marketed to us. And it's the result of times when you had to marry the prince next door so you'd have enough to eat for the winter. It is over with. And your solo is a valid time. I make a joke about the Liz Duvarna Matchmaking Festival in the book, Tammy.
Oh, great. Oh my gosh. Oh, Mary Delia.
That's a joke, but a very serious point. I really want you to think about that. If you were going to stop being single, what would you be like? Oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have taken care of this. I wish I would have, because that's a valid question to ask yourself, no matter what stage of the game of being single you are in.
Well, I'm going to add that in my daily journey, all married people ask if they can come with us, because they're married and it's not so green on the other side. How does it go? The grass is greener. The grass is not greener. It's green right now. It's green right now.
This is the only day that you have, and to not put yourself at the center of it is an error. And by being single, we can put all our resources on ourselves. So we should be having a better time. We should be having more experiences. We should be extending ourselves more. We should be having bigger and better connections. Although I will say, I thought it was interesting that you talked about, people say, I'm waiting for my friends. One of the things I talk about in the book is that as a single, your relationships are different. Your friendships are different. And if you get married or you meet somebody, some of your friendships fall away, and you gain some new friendships by meeting that other person and having more experiences. And if you stay single and you don't have a partnership, you have to kind of look around your friendship garden and prune it a little bit. You also, I believe, have to build a bigger garden of friends because you have more resources, more time, more effort, more energy that you can put into connections. I think the richness of a single's life has just gotten a bad rap, and it does not deserve it. There's certainly connection and things that are wonderful about having a life with a partner, but those same things exist in being single, and it's because the times have changed. Being single today is not what it was 100 years ago, and if you're the type of person who is already traveling with a group and already seeking out information in a book like this, you are on the forefront of what is changing. Tammy, you've been there for a long time on what being single can be. But I would say even in the time since I started at the Singles, being solo has just changed. And I think it's a positive change. And I think, the kids today will look back and we'll be like, oh yeah, I had to write a self-help book on being single. They'll be like, what for? Like, I think they won't get it. I think this is a problem that society's going to age out of a little bit in the next, I think it's 100 years from now, but I do think that it's very much changing.
And we know that we can individually make that choice. So each of you here today could take that next step. I put a link in the chat for direct access to the book. It's called Enjoy Your Solo. And in the essence of everybody's time, we promise to finish. We've had such a great talk today, and I hope that maybe you can come back again in a couple of months, and everybody's will have read the book, so we might have some more questions and more stories of our own.
If you want to send me an email about it, and Amazon reviews are what we live and die on. We scribes, we authors of modern times, so that's very important.
Wonderful. So guys, I put the link in here. If you want me to reach out to you, please go ahead and put your email address in the chat so I can grab that before we finish. And any final thoughts, Mary Delia, for people to encourage them in their journey as a solo?
I think that we're, Tammy, you and I are very upbeat. I'm a very upbeat person. And this is not, I like to continue to say, this is not an extrovert's, this is not only an extrovert's choice to have a very positive solohood. It's whatever, it's you recognizing what makes you happy. It's you recognizing what makes you feel connected. And there's a lot of choice out there. There's a lot of ways to do it.
Thank you so much.
Read. It's a breezy read.
It's a breezy read, and it's an excellent read. And I loved hearing some of the stories. And you guys, it's your turn to start making the stories. So let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's make connection, and let's be awesome at solo. Enjoy your solo. So Mary Delia, thanks again for joining us today. I'm going to stop the recording.